equality for all children regardless of race, to be equal in all aspects and ways. This was part of the dream that Martin Luther King Jr. preached on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
That one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners, will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood? I have a dream.
Even before Dr. King took the stage, change was happening in the United States. All over the country, schools were being integrated so that kids of every race could have an equal chance at an education. Everyone should be allowed to a fair education, but because of the racism in the United States, the African American children were not allowed the same type of education as all the other students, and that had to change. Even after the rights for minorities were won, after the Civil War, people were still treating African Americans as an inferior race. Although their rights were ratified by the 14th Amendment, they were still denied equal opportunities. African Americans who chose to ride on buses were forced to sit in the back. Some water fountains were designated for whites' use only. In restaurants, African Americans were not allowed to eat at the counter. They had to leave and eat outside. Other areas like rec centers and swimming pools were off limits as well. Even public education was influenced by this way of thinking. Black and white students did not sit in the same classrooms. They were not taught from the same teachers. They couldn't even go to the same schools. In 1954, the Supreme Court case, Brown v. Board of Education, ended the segregation of public schools in the United States. This case overruled the previous notion of separate but equal facilities by stating that separation was inherently unequal. Even though integration occurred, cases of students being placed in lower classes based on race was still happening, along with white students boycotting certain integrated schools. Riots broke out when black students enrolled in a white school. The government called in reinforcements. Governor Orville Faubus of Arkansas called the Arkansas National Guard to prevent the black students from entering into Central High School in Little Rock.
And the oath of my office taken the following action. Units of the National Guard have been and are now being mobilized with the mission to maintain or restore the peace and good order of this community. Advanced units are already on duty on the grounds of Central High School.
Eisenhower retaliated to this action by sending in federal troops to enforce court order for school integration.
I personally believe if you try to go too far, too fast in laws in this delicate field that has involved the emotions of so many millions of Americans, you're making a mistake. I believe we've got to have laws that go along with education and understanding. And I believe you go beyond that at any one time, you cause trouble rather than benefit.
The 1957 Civil Rights Act, which was enacted by President Eisenhower, had good intentions, but white communities, particularly in the South, were opposed to this new bill. With the gradual acceptance of change, greater social equality was achieved.